Trump said he'd be able to resolve the Ukraine-Russia war within 24 hours of getting into office. Not only did he fail to keep his word, he didn't even start negotiations in his first 24 hours. February 12th was the first day he contacted Putin with a phone call. This was almost a month after he was inaugurated. Then on February 18th, he called Zelensky a dictator, and the US has been supporting Ukraine since 2014. This is a major change in the way US deals with foreign affairs, and has also led to a very negative response worldwide. On February 21st, Trump talked with Putin, but not Zelensky, about having some sort of peace agreement, and then this happened on February 28th.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't have your playing cards. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
This war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards, but you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
I don't think I'm ever going to get over Vance asking for thank yous. Like, what grade are we in? What is this? And then on March 30th, Trump said he's pissed off with Putin for not coming to a peace agreement. Trump and his cabinet are just frantically pointing fingers and making accusations without actually doing anything of substance.
But we're not going to continue to fly all over the world and do meeting after meeting after meeting if no progress is being made. So if they're serious about peace, either side or both, we want to help. If it's not going to happen, then we're just going to move on.
And Marco's right in saying we want to see it end.
So now both Trump and Rubio are making attempts to back out of one of the promises Trump gave to the American people. Trump also said this on April 23rd, quote, "Nobody is asking Zelensky to recognize Crimea as Russian territory, but if he wants Crimea, why didn't they fight for it 11 years ago when it was handed over to Russia without a shot being fired," end quote. It's common knowledge that in 2014 Ukraine was in the middle of a civil war. Russia used this civil war that they arguably perpetuated, but I'm not even going to get into that right now. They use that as an opportunity to take over Crimea. Trump is just showing that he doesn't understand this conflict nearly enough to be in a position to negotiate. And then most recently, Trump met with Zelensky at the Vatican on the 26th. This is probably the most positive we've seen Zelensky out of one of these meetings. He said it was very productive. Hopefully this is signs of positive change in the future. Regardless, Trump did say he'd be able to resolve this conflict in 24 hours. Because of that, it's perfectly reasonable to hold him accountable for not keeping his word. Since 2022, there have been 12,000 Ukrainians that have been killed. There was a terrible bombing on April 4th that murdered 9 children, and also just in April alone there's been 3,200 bombs that have been dropped on Ukraine. I'm not saying all this blood should lie on Trump's hands, but he's the one that said he could negotiate this within 24 hours. We are 3 months after he's been inaugurated into office and he hasn't done shit. When a person in that position of power says something of that severity, it is the public's moral obligation to hold that person responsible for any of the events that follow.